Hello Evans Park and Franklin Avenue, and welcome back to week number 2 of our Art Online. I can't believe that we're already on week number 2, and Boris is here with us, and he's going to help us out this morning, starting to show you some other things I wanted to show you with the fashion design project. So I'm going to put Boris down. You okay? Hi. Now, boys and girls, this week, you guys are working on the projects that I showed you from last week. But because this is the introduction, I wanted to show you something else and something cool that relates to what we're learning about. And a lot of kids last week, during the first week, were asking me, Mr. Price, how do designers put a picture on a shirt? Because I want to do a picture. So that got my wheels turning, and I started to think, gee, I can show the boys and girls at home how to do some silk printing or silk screening. So I have some things here that I'm going to show you, and you can try this at home, but you don't have to. This is just for you to watch and see how things are done. So here are the things that we need to do an at-home silk screening project. I picked up a couple of these stretched canvases. You can get these at Michael's or Walmart. You're going to need some of these. These are stockings that you would wear. You're going to need some of this cool stuff, Mod Podge. You'll need some ink, tape, paintbrushes. You can use a regular stapler, but I happen to have my real powerful staple gun. And I have some of these plastic putty knives, which you're gonna need to move the paint. And finally, you'll need some things that you're gonna print on. So I have some t-shirts I picked up. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'll pan you down here so you can see. I'm gonna take this canvas and I'm gonna open it up. Okay, I'm gonna only use one of these right now. And what I wanna do is I wanna take the canvas part off, because what I'm trying to do is work with the wooden frame that's underneath. So you can see I removed the canvas and I'm left with this wooden frame, and I'm just gonna pull any extra staples off and just get this out of here. Okay, so the side I want to go down when I make my press is going to be the flat side. So I'm gonna take some time and I'm going to remove all of these staples. All right, so boys and girls, I took all the staples out and you can see that this side is nice and flat. So now, the next thing I need to do is I'm gonna take a pair of these stockings and I'm gonna open them up, and I wanna find the part that's the thicker part. So I'm gonna cut the legs off and I'm gonna work with the part that's up here. It's nice and thick. So I'm just gonna find that and cut off all this here. Nylon has tiny little holes in it. If I open this and I stretch it, you can see those little holes. See those little holes in there? And that's the trick to making the print. So if you're totally lost, don't worry, you're gonna see it at the end. Okay, so now I have a nice piece of fabric, like that I'm going to stretch onto this like the white canvas was, but now I have to stretch the nylon. And I wanna avoid that seam right here in the fabric. So I'm gonna just start stapling it and try to stretch it. Let's see if I can, oh, this is gonna be perfect. All right, so let me get out my staple gun now. And if you're doing this at home, you can use a regular old stapler. It's fine. But I happen to have my heavy duty one here. So I'm gonna just put some staples in it. So I'm just gonna put a staple in. Just like that. And I wanna stretch the nylon as neatly as possible. And I'm gonna put it in over here. And then stretch it over here. So all I did was I stretched it, and now I'm going to bring it down. I'm trying to show you, see what I'm doing? I'm stretching it on like that. Okay, so I'm gonna flip this over, and I'm gonna wrap that up and bring it over, and you want a nice, tight stretch, so don't be afraid to pull it. Okay, do you see what I did? I stretched the nylon onto the frame. I'm gonna trim off all this extra. And I'm making sure that it's as tight as I can get it without ripping a hole, because nylon is very fragile. Now, we're using nylon, but silkscreen artists use silk screens for this. That's why it's called silk screening. And silk screening is a very fine fabric that has very, very tiny little holes in it. Now, ours is a DIY. That means do it yourself. So ours is going to be a little bit more primitive, I should say, or a little bit more simplistic. Okay, so what I did was I took some tin foil and just protected my tabletop. And I'm gonna grab a paintbrush, and I'm gonna start with this big guy here. And the first thing I wanna do is take the Mod Podge, and I'm gonna start to paint the background. Okay, so I have my silk screen ready, and now I'm gonna take my t-shirt. This is the test, guys, right? And what I'm gonna do is just take off the price tag, and I'm gonna take the other canvas that I did not use, and I think I have that laying around here somewhere, and I'm gonna put the shirt. This will be kind of my test one. That way I have a nice flat surface, and I think what I'm even gonna do is take some of this painter's tape, and I'm gonna stretch the shirt a little. Canvas, and it's ready for the print. So if I take this and I lay it down, all right, oh, I'm so nervous. And now I need the putty knife. This is going to drag across, and you got to put it right where you want it. And I think maybe, do I want to tilt those letters? No, I think I'll leave them straight. We'll see how this one goes. So now I'm gonna just, let me make sure that tape is down. And let me pan you down, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna take the blue ink. Now, boys and girls, this is not print ink. This is just plain old acrylic paint, but for our demonstration, I think we're okay. And I'm gonna run a nice thick bead of it across, just like that. And put this exactly where I want it, because once I print it, that's it. And now I'm gonna take the ink and I'm gonna stretch it across. Now, I might get a couple little holes here and there, but I think we're okay. I maybe should wait for some of that to dry, but I'm gonna go for it. Here we go. Right across. You want to get a nice even flow. Okay, and now, when I pick that up, are you ready to see it? I'm ready to see it. Look at that! It worked! I probably needed a little more ink, but there it is on my shirt. So I'm going to take a gray t-shirt now, and let's try it again. Let me take off this. Okay, so I just taped it up kind of loosely here. And here's my silk screen. So I'm gonna lay this down. I have to be careful because now it has ink on it. So I think this time I'll maybe tilt it a little. Make it look a little more funky, right? And I'm gonna take my ink and put a nice bead of ink on. This time I'll try to add a little more. Okay. Here's my knife, my putty knife, and stretch. And I'm gonna go back the opposite way. Okay, and let's peel it off. I'll let you see it first this time. And look, guys, it worked again. How cool. So now that my design is working, and actually this one looks better because I think the second time you do it, the nylon gets more ink in the holes, so it prints better. But I'm gonna go ahead here. Woo! I don't want to rip that, and I don't want to smear it because the paint takes time to dry. So let me very carefully pull that out. So there we go. So there's the gray shirt with the word art, and here is my first shirt with the word art. And now I might even print on canvas, and this is how different artists get their logo on all kinds of things. So let me take this canvas here, put that down. Let's make that, I like it crooked. I think that looks cool. I have a lot of paint here from the last time, so I think I'll try to salvage that. I'm just gonna go ahead stretch it across. Now what's happening is the Mod Podge sealed up those holes except for the spot I left empty. Now when I peel this off, there it is again. So do you see how I was able to silk screen my design onto all these different things? So boys and girls, now you can see how I was able to take my logo on paper, and I was able to make a silk screen, and if I put it against the wall there, you can still see the word art. See that there? And I was able to print it many times to create my logo onto different surfaces. And that's how an artist does it. Now, a professional artist who works in a company would use a machine to do this, but I wanted to show you how you can do it by hand. So just something to think about. The next time you're looking at a t-shirt that has a design on it, you now know how it was printed. So at this time, I would like you to go back to your grade level link and see week 2 of our project. Have a great day, boys and girls. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.